One of those nights, baby. Just one of those nights. Oh, man. Here we go. One of those nights where we have a rundown that we keep, that we kind of update throughout the game of things we want to talk about. And one of those nights where we had it filled out, and then, you rip it up, you throw it away, and you write something completely new because Illinois wins. After being down 10 points with, what was the largest lead here? 10 points with about 8.5 left. Illinois was down. They came back, forced overtime, and get the dub. 85-78 over Texas in overtime. Whew, we got a lot to talk about. Buckle up. Make sure your seats are fastened. Ooh! Logan cracking one open, pouring one for the people on a Tuesday night. Oh, man, we're in a good mood. I'm Craig. That's Logan. We host No One Asked Us every week. We also do our post-game shows. Cheers to you, Logan. I'm just drinking soda, but
you see my
I'll take it.
My mug or my glass.
Son of a nutcracker. Oh, okay. Let's get this going. Thank you for joining us. We are live on all of our social or all of our pages. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We do these after every show. If you want to keep keeping up with us, we will continue to do them. So give us a like and a subscribe, and wherever you're listening, like and subscribe, rate us on Apple and all that good stuff. And we really do appreciate it. Also, get in the chat. We are live. We do see your comments, whatever you put in the chat on whatever platform you're watching. We do see that. So get in there, and we will read some of your comments later in the show. So like I said, Illinois wins by 7 over the number 2 team in the country, hands Texas their first loss of the season. I've been talking a while, Logan. I'll let you have the floor for just a little bit while I get some other things in order. Wow. Just take it away.
Did something happen tonight? Why are we here?
Yeah.
We're here to talk about baseball and Cody Bellinger, correct?
Cody Bellinger. No. Jason Hayward 2.0.
Holy smokes. Tale of two halves. As you said, this is a absolute throw out the rundown kind of show. I had no super expectations for this game. But I was happy at halftime. I was happy. I got a text from my dad. How you feeling? Illinois was up 3 points at halftime, and I felt good. And then the second half started, and everything started to go downhill real quick. But the last 15 minutes of this game, overtime included, was just an absolute. It was just an impressive showing from Illinois. All things considered, this is a pretty damn good Texas team, and Illinois was the better team tonight, which is hard to think about because I'm not exactly sure how they were in this game for a large part of it.
That's the first thing on our rundown.
We'll talk about that because that is on the rundown that we do have. But it's incredible, man. This was a very impressive showing for the Illini. This is a really good Illinois team, and we've known that. We've talked about it. This is now Illinois has played in 3. Let's call them tournament games. I mean, these are real tournament atmospheres. I mean, this is Sweet 16, Elite 8 games that Illinois has played in against UCLA, Virginia, and now Texas in neutral environments, in tournament type of atmospheres. And in those games, they're now 2-3 or 2-1. So
2-1.
I cannot say. I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled with how this has gone. And I'm pleasantly pleased by
I think you're going to get a lot of this of us tonight where we're like our minds are going somewhere, and then we just kind of revert back to, I'm just in a good mood because our minds aren't coherent. We were prepared for one type of show, and we're doing a completely different type of show. So before we get too far into it, run down the stats here. Matthew Meyer breakout. Finally, the Matthew Meyer that we thought we were getting this whole season from Baylor showed up tonight. I think he had 14 in the first half. He had a lot in the first half, I know.
He scored the first 5 points of the
15.
game for Illinois.
He had 15 in the first half.
I thought that was impressive.
Yeah.
You thought Matthew Meyer
that's his season average.
for the first 5 points of the game against Texas, and then come to find out he ended up dropping 21 points. So good for him. I'm glad to see him getting back in the mix here because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I mean, I know there was the back thing, and I'm sure there was some conditioning things and a lot of adjustments having to be done there. But this was nice to see. These are the games you need your veterans to show up in, and he absolutely showed up.
Yep, 5 of 5 from 3. Terrence Shannon Jr. We're going to talk more ad nauseum on him. 16 points tonight. Jaden Epps 11. RJ Coleman and Dane all with 9. Rebounding, Illinois was actually very good on the rebound on the boards tonight. Coleman had 7. Dane had 6. Terrence had 5. Everyone had multiple rebounds. Everyone that played in the game had multiple rebounds for the game. They had 42 as a team. Texas had 40 as a team. Nothing really else. 17 turnovers was bad for Illinois. Only 11 assists. 12 blocked shots. 12 blocked shots from Illinois tonight was huge as well. All right, so getting into it, our key 3, which is more than 3 tonight. How was Illinois in this game? That's the number one thing I wrote down. How did Illinois even force overtime? How did not even win? How were they in this game? They had 20 turnovers. They had 11 or they had 14 like halfway through the second half. I don't understand how Texas kept Illinois in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we saw Texas's best showing. First and foremost, as I said, I think
when you leave the state of Texas.
Yeah, it does. It's a good Texas team, but this was not their best game, and they let Illinois hang around for far too long. They should have put the clamps down on Illinois in the first 10 minutes of the second half, and they couldn't do it. They claimed close. I mean, I think it was a few more possessions away from Illinois getting run out of the gym, but things just kind of turned, and Texas couldn't do it, and they couldn't close it out. They'll be back. I mean, they're definitely going to be a team to watch late in the season and in the tournament for sure. But they could not close out the Illini, and Illinois got the contributions from a variety of players. Illinois has a lot of weapons, and sometimes that's dangerous. I don't think we saw their best. I don't think we saw their best basketball. And I'm not sure we didn't see Illinois' best basketball, but tonight Illinois was the better team, and that's hard to even think about because I don't think I would have said that for the first 30 minutes of this game. I don't think Illinois was the better team until the last 15, but they were, and that's what mattered.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the game cast here to see what win probability and all that stuff was because it was. I'm sure it was leaning heavily Texas's way halfway through the first half. We already touched on Matthew Meyer. You kind of went into it. Needed from him. He played really well. Did get in some foul trouble. Had 4 fouls. I feel like he's going to have 4 fouls like every game. I feel like he fouls a ton. But let's talk about Terrence Shannon for a little bit because on our rundown, I think I have verbatim Terrence Shannon non-existent.
Which he was.
And he ended up with 16 points. Ended up with 16 points. What were those in the second half? 12?
He scored 4 in the first half. So he had 8. I think he had 8 in the second half. And
0 points in the first half, 4 in the second half.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
12 in overtime.
Correct.
12 in overtime. Step up when you needed him. He looked terrible in the first half. Did he airball a shot? I don't know if he airballed, but he took some bad shots.
About 5 minutes to go in the second half, he wasn't even on the floor.
Yeah.
Illinois was fighting for their lives, and their best player was not even – he was sitting on the bench. He wasn't in foul trouble. He was just sitting on the bench. He was not playing his best basketball, and Brad thought he had 5 other guys that were better than him at that particular time. Now, he came on the court quickly after that, but I thought that was interesting. Like, Brad was, clearly making a statement there. Like, you're not our best guy tonight. You're not our best guy right now. And he wasn't on the floor. Now that quickly turned around. I'm sure he had a lot of things going on. They talked about it several times. Playing against Chris Beard, who obviously recruited him, and he played under at Texas Tech. There was the whole thing going on with his eye and the possible, the injury he had in the Maryland game. So like there could have been a variety of things that were going on in the first half of this game, first 20 minutes of this game, 40 minutes of this game, but he definitely turned it on towards down the stretch, and he was the guy, and that's what they need.
Yep.
You know, he doesn't always have to be the guy for the entire game, but when it came down to it, when they needed him, he turned it on, and he was huge.
Looking at ESPN Gamecast win probability with 8 minutes left, 8:01 left, 56-46, Texas lead. Texas 92.3% win probability. And once again, with 45 seconds left, Texas was up 5. Illinois called that was the timeout. That was the Coleman Hawkins timeout. They had an 87% win probability. And then Illinois just skyrocketed from there.
Mm-hmm.
Does Brad Underwood teach them how to do a jump stop?
I don't know.
How to not run into people?
Yeah, that was.
No, we're nitpicking here because they did end up winning the game, and we probably don't need to touch on this.
Well,
but at least 5 charges.
We can call it nitpicking, but that was the story of the first half. I mean, that was absolutely the story of the first half of this game. Illinois couldn't figure that out. They were on the wrong side of nearly every single block charge call in the first however long of this game. Now things started to change. Eventually they figured some things out, but it seemed like it was happening to every single player on that Illini team. They were getting, on the wrong end of that. I don't know. They didn't figure that out until late in the game. But yeah, I mean, it is a little nitpicky, but it's true. I mean, that was certainly a factor early on.
Just the decision-making in the open court is there's much to be desired in the decision-making on this team when they've got a lot of space to go. And then to piggyback off that, I tweeted it as well late in the game before Illinois went on their run. I've never seen a college Division I basketball team make so many junior high basketball mistakes. The Coleman Hawkins foul on the 3 when he fouled him from behind, no need for that. No need for that. And that was only one of the examples from tonight. Sky Clark is not seeing the floor well. He missed a lot of open players in the paint, and then he took a pull-up jumper that I think it was Coleman set a screen. Sky went around it, had an open layup if he went to the hole, but instead he stopped for a pull-up jumper, free throw line extended, and he missed it. It's just something's not clicking, and the chemistry isn't always there with this team. There was a lot of indecision where, specifically with Coleman, where he's throwing a bounce pass through the lane because he thinks his teammate's going to cut to the goal, but they're not even looking. They're cutting to the corner or something. There's just not a lot of communication, not a lot of cohesion at points. Obviously, they turned it around tonight, but that's some stuff you got to get cleaned up.
Yeah, I mean, that's stuff that takes time. I mean, it's still December 6th, and this team they haven't played that much together. I mean, we all know the story of this. There's about 2 returning players on this team right now that are healthy. The rest of their rotation is 2 high major transfers and 5 freshmen. They just haven't had a lot of reps together. Now they've won a lot of games. There's clearly a lot of talent on this team. And that will take you far. But yeah, they certainly have to get some things figured out. I mean, the Coleman thing, Coleman Hawkins is one of the most talented basketball players in this conference for all the things he can do. But you've talked about it. The coordination isn't the best, and he doesn't always make the best decisions. Still, I mean, he still has enough talent to take him to the next level. But yeah, there's definitely some things there. The Sky Clark conundrum. I mean, he wasn't ready for prime time tonight. Very SNL New York line of me. He just wasn't, and he's not. He's the more talented of the freshman point guards. I use point guard and loose there. He's the more talented of the 2, I think, but I don't think he's quite ready for some of this right now. He hasn't shown it. Jaden Epps is Jaden Epps can do a lot of things, and he can score. He's a better scorer right now than Sky Clark is. Sky Clark tries to do too much, and that has hurt this team several times. But tonight, it all worked out. So they'll get it figured out. They just got to continue to play together more, figure out this rotation, figure out their roles, and they're gonna be just fine. This game was a nice proof of that.
5 points for Sky, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers, -2 plus minus. He played 21 minutes. Jaden Epps played 32 minutes of the possible 45. All right, let's check in with the chat people. The people in the chat. We are 15 minutes into this and haven't said hi yet. So hello to everyone in the chat. We got some comments here. If you're still here and you want us to talk about something or get something off your chest and let us know, just put it in the chat wherever you are watching, and we'll get to it. So first one, we're just going to go in order here. Gritty damn effort. Yeah.
I
would agree with that. Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny. It's funny. Hang on. It's funny he says that, or they say that, because there was a point in this game where I don't think it was. I don't think Illinois was playing gritty. I don't think Illinois was playing the way Brad Underwood wanted them to play. They weren't bodying up guys. They weren't crashing boards. They weren't diving for the loose ball. Like, they weren't playing that way. But again, whatever changed the tide, things did switch at some point. So that it definitely was a lot more gritty down the stretch.
Yep. Chase Southwood Coleman was killing me with the TO and then foul behind the arc. Is that an emoji? I don't know if that's like a emoji behind it, but yeah, we touched on the foul behind the arc, and we said the timeout. Luckily, Jaden Epps bailed him out and he hit a 3 out of that timeout. But that could have been a turning point.
Yeah, I don't know what to say there. I mean, I know why he did it, but I don't know if that was the right decision on his end. But yeah, whatever.
Coach Steve checking in, missed the game, has on. Just wanted to say keep killing the podcast game. Respect.
Missed a hell of a game, Steve. Make sure to fire
go back on the DVR.
On your own DVR.
Mark Jess stole that one, didn't deserve it, but earned it. No apologies. Now run before they review it. Yeah, I thought the refs were going to steal it there for a second. That was not a goaltend that they called on Coleman, and I just felt like all the calls were going Texas's way. But Joe Groves, that was a dang good win. I agree. Let's go, boys. This is how we do it. Nobody can stop Illinois. Anything's possible. ILL. Depth. Something here. Depth shows up again to be able to ride the hot hand late with Epps. Yeah. Depth was something we learned about, but seems to be okay, especially when Luke Goody comes out and everyone was worried about Matt Meyer. This is what we needed to see. Obviously, this is what we needed to see. I'm trying to see here. There's a lot in the comments. If you got anything else, they keep coming in. We'll keep checking them and maybe get some more here in a second. Moving on to everyday guy of the game. Who you got?
I mean, the highest scorer was Matt Meyer, and we've talked about the Terrence Shannon performance, but Jaden Epps was huge down the stretch in this game. Hit some huge clutch free throws, hit a couple big threes, the 3 that saved the Coleman timeout. Jaden had a day, man. Jaden as I've said, Jaden's a bucket, and like he just does a lot. 11 points, hit the 1-3, 3 assists from him. He just does a lot on this team, and I'm glad they have him. I think that combination of him and Sky Clark is a good point guard, whatever they have. But he was a really nice addition to this team tonight, and really saved them in a couple tight spots for a freshman too. Just Tim Lee, welcome, Tim. Yeah, I mean, it's true.
I'm glad you could watch this one and it wasn't streaming on BTN Plus.
I'm surprised he's able to watch your show. Oh,
I'm going with Sincere. I just love that dude. I love the energy he brings. His stat line isn't going to show much. He did have 5 points tonight, 2 rebounds and an assist, but he doesn't. No turnovers. He had a 13. He had the best plus minus on the team, 13. He's turning into what I thought Ty Rodgers was going to be. The guy that doesn't fill the stat sheet, but comes in and just hustles his ass off and plays hard and can bring the momentum back if you lose the momentum. I love the potential of Sincere Harris. Him and Epps are the two freshmen that I trust the most right now.
Right.
And Sincere doesn't even score that much, but that's just how much I love his impact on this team.
Yeah, he's not going to fill up the stat sheet. Ty Rodgers has not been a factor whatsoever. Yeah. 6 minutes.
He played 6 minutes. Yeah.
I don't know. There could be. Minutes. I mean, there could be.
He did have 4 rebounds.
There could be a lot of things here, but he's not been much of a factor for this team. But yeah, Sincere was huge. Sincere is just a heck of an athlete, heck of a player. I like that he's able to get in there and just stir some things up. He's been great. Yeah, I agree. Fly the dub. Absolutely. He's going to be Big Ten player, defensive player of the year one day. I mean, he said it. He's told Brad he wants to be a better defender than Trent Frazier.
Trent Frazier should have been
defender. So, yeah.
I remember one specifically. Tyrese Hunter had the ball. Their Texas' starting guard, and he was trying to shake Sincere, and nothing. Absolutely could not get by him at all. And then they set a screen, and it was a switch where Sky Clark got put on Hunter, and Hunter got right to the lane. I think he missed the shot, but as soon as they switched, because Schulman said something about him not being able to get by Sincere, and as soon as they switched, I was like, well, he's going to get Sky, and he did. But I'm pretty sure he missed the shot. So there was something else I was going to say. Oh, the block. It kind of started the comeback. The block, it hit off the backboard, it bounced back to the 3-point line, and then that was the Melendez oop layup. That was a huge momentum shifter.
Came from the other side. Yeah, that was huge.
Yep. Good and the bad. Good. All of it. Well, no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. There's not exactly. Yeah, the last 15 minutes of this game, that was the good. Everything else before that was not. I mean, just we've already talked about it. Just staying with this Texas team. Illinois, we've already talked about it, was not the best team in this game for the first 30 minutes. They just weren't. But they kept in it, whether, Texas allowed them to stay in it or Illinois fought to stay in it, whatever the case may be. It just says a lot. And that was, we've seen a lot of fight from this team as it is already. Yes, they have 2 losses, but those 2 losses, they stayed in those games. They fought in those games. And that was the case tonight as well. They were huge. The last 15 minutes of this game was spectacular for the Illini. So that was the good, just all of it. Yep. The bad, it wasn't so much as bad late because they did kind of correct the course a little bit, but free throw shooting is still a concern on this team. It's not just Dane Danger, who was 3 for 6. Coleman missed 2 free throws in overtime. Sincere was only 1 for 4. I mean, they did kind of correct it a little bit, but that's something you gotta get a little better on. Those shots are given to you. You kind of expect it out of players like Dane Danger, but
13 for 20 in regulation from the free throw line. Yeah. They were 8 of 11 in overtime. So 21 for 31. But overtime saved that free throw percentage for sure. My good, nothing specific, just the comeback. It was just a comeback. Being able to do it with the guys that you had on the floor. Like we said, Terrence Shannon Jr. was doing nothing, and they were able to come back on the number 2 team in the country and win. When your best player legitimately did nothing for the first 37 minutes of the game. So nothing specific from it, just being able to come back and doing it when you're not playing your best ball. My bad was, and this obviously, like most, changed halfway through the second half. Just take care of the damn ball. How many turnovers? 20? 17 turnovers. And they made a comment late. I think it was Jay Billis said they haven't had a turnover in like 9 minutes. So that was 17 turnovers through about 30 minutes of basketball. Yeah. It's not a good ratio. Not a good ratio at all.
At one point, Derek Piper from Illini Inquirer tweeted out that there's a lack of an experienced point guard on this team, and it's true. It's true. I mean, we can praise Jaden Epps all we want, and Sky Clark has had his moments, but we've known that was gonna be an issue. This team does not have an experienced ball handler, and so there are going to be times where that shows up. Granted, they've been able to get away with it to this point in the season, and the freshman point guards will only improve. But when it comes to taking care of the ball and the better distribution and not turning it over and all that stuff, I mean, that definitely plays a factor. You're playing against a Texas team who has two pretty good veteran guards, and Illinois.
I love Tyrese
from a ball handler perspective. Terrence is a great guard, but in terms of the point guard position, Illinois has two freshmen. They're good freshmen, but they're freshmen, and I think that's a factor tonight.
Yeah, most of the stat lines were similar. Field goal percentage, free throw percentage. The one difference was threes. Illinois actually shot the three ball better than Texas did tonight, which I don't know how often we're going to see that. There was something else I was going to say here about this, and it has escaped my mind. We'll get to the chat here real quick. Maryland moved from 22 to 13 with their win against us. By that rationale, we should move to 1 with our win over Texas. Wouldn't go that far.
I don't know if we're gonna jump that high.
I hope so.
I mean,
I hope
they'll certainly move up, assuming they don't win Saturday.
Saturday. There was one more here. Coleman, Coleman's stat line was impressive. Led the team in assists, rebounds, and blocks. Only one turnover. Didn't shoot it great. Missed 2 late free throws, and the timeout call had good intentions, but could have hurt us. I did not like the 3 he shot. I forgot when it was. Were we up yet? I don't know if we were up yet, but
I know
he took like a sliding fadeaway 3 right after we got a stop and could have taken the lead or something. Didn't love that from him, but I haven't even checked his real stat line. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 42 minutes. I think we just gotta, and we've been doing it for the last 2 years. You gotta learn to take the fact that Coleman's going to do some stupid things, but he's also the most versatile player on the court.
Absolutely.
He can bring the ball up. He can defend. I think it was Isaac Trotter tweeted during the game that something to the effect of Coleman Hawkins switching onto the Texas guards isn't going exactly how they think it's going to go. Because when they get a 6'10" guy switched onto him, they're thinking, "Oh, good, I can take this dude." But he's a 6'10" guy, but he's Mr. Do-It-All. So
he plays like a guard.
More Coleman Hawkins here. Hawkins made a great play on the phantom goaltend call. Yep, that was not goaltending. Probably need some shout out to RJ. Shout out to RJ for turning his game around. Terrible first, real solid down the stretch. I agree.
That was kind of the same for everybody except Matt Meyer.
That's true.
Matt Meyer had a good first half and not as good of a second half, and everybody else was the exact opposite.
Yeah, I missed this. I looked up as they called the double dribble, so I did not see what happened. But I remember it happening during the bad stretch.
It was just a dumb. There was nothing. He just flat out double dribbled. There's nothing else you can do about it. He just did it.
Yeah. All right. This is our last call for chat. We're going to talk about what's coming up, and then we'll check the chat one more time. So if you got anything else for us in the chat, get it in there now, and we'll get to it before the end of the show. But we're moving on to Saturday. Next game, Penn State, noon Eastern, 11 Central on Big Ten Network. Penn State is 6-2. They host Michigan State tomorrow. Michigan State, would you call them reeling? I would call Michigan State reeling right now. I think they've lost 3 in a row, maybe.
I would say so.
Penn State is 36 in Ken Palm, coming off of a loss in the ACC Big Ten Challenge to Clemson, a double overtime loss at Clemson. They haven't played in more than a week. Penn State hasn't. But they will play tomorrow at home against Michigan State. Don't know a whole lot about Penn State. I'm not going to lie. Don't know a whole lot. about. Oh, yes. Thank you, Fly the Dub. I was going to mention this off the top. I forgot. 9th win all time over a top 2 team. The last one was Michigan in 2001. That was at Michigan, I believe.
Was that
was the
record
blowout?
correct that they flashed on the screen? Like
Which
8
one?
and 42 or something
Yeah, I saw that.
against top.
I don't know.
Second ranked team. I saw that number and I'm like, is that correct?
That's a lot of game for some one or
That's
a
a
two.
lot
Is
of
that what you're
games.
saying?
I don't know. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just seemed like a strange number, but yeah. I mean, that's still nine's a good number. Yep, 9 and 42.
9 and 42. Yep.
Wow, incredible.
Illinois jumped up to 11 in Ken Palm. He's already got it updated. They were 18, jumped up to 11. Texas dropped to 3. Man, that's just a massive win. That's just a massive.
It's a huge win. This is a huge win. This is a huge win for this team and this program. And, you know, we can be negative about how the game started, but like still they were up 3 at halftime. So like I had nothing to be complaining about at halftime. Huge.
It was a 8-point game, I believe, 8 or 10-point game. And I was kind of sulking. I was pretty quiet. And Christy was like, were you expecting this? I was like, yeah, I think I told Logan yesterday, but like 6 to 8-point game. So if it stays like this, yeah, but it could get worse. And then I'll be pretty upset. And then, so if it would have been an 8-point loss, I would have been like, okay, we were close. We hung with them. I'm fine. This is a young team. But to pull out the win, I mean, it's only inflating my expectations, which is probably a bad thing.
It's a good team. There's a lot of talent here.
Yeah, there is. Saturday. I mean, it would be nice to get the first Big Ten win Saturday. We'll just say that. At home against an inferior opponent. Take care of business. Get on the board. Get these guys their first Big Ten win. It's a brand new team. That'd be a huge step forward. We do have a couple more chats here, and then we'll close it up. As Rogers' minutes are continuing to decrease, do you see anyone else getting more or someone else off the bench? I think the rotation's pretty much set until Luke Goody comes back.
Yeah. They're not going to start giving more minutes to any of the other 3 at the end of the bench. Yeah, I think Luke will obviously change some things. He'll eat into somebody's minutes, but I think they'll continue to try and keep getting Ty more minutes. But if he can't contribute much, then he'll lose some of those, especially when Goody comes back. But I don't think they're going to add anybody else to the rotation.
No. How many minutes did Sincere play in overtime? Because he had 18 total. He only had 1 in overtime. Okay, that's about right for Sincere. He played 17 regulation minutes. I think that's about right. Epps played all 5. Coleman played all 5. Melendez all 5. Shannon all 5. So they barely subbed in overtime. I thought that was probably smart because that was the best 5 that were on the court. Question here: setting the over/under on TJ airballs this season at 22. How many does he have now?
We're gonna see a lot of that.
Yeah,
we're gonna see a lot of that. I think.
Yeah, great win.
Coleman played 42 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I think he has to. He
doesn't come off the floor much, and the only reason Terrence only played 35 is because he was struggling for the first 30 minutes of this game.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Last question here from the chat. Fly to Dub been hitting us up in the chat. I love it. Keep doing it. We appreciate you. Before we get to this, I agree. Ty Rogers Day will come though. Yes, it will. He will be a great Big Ten player. It's just not happening right now. All right. Here's a question: would you trade the win tonight for a victory last Friday over Maryland?
That's a fun question. I have an answer.
I'll let you go first.
No. No. I will take a win over a number 2 ranked team in Madison Square Garden over one single loss in the Big Ten on the road against a pretty good Maryland team. No. The answer is no.
That's where I'm leaning to.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards that, but it's a Big Ten win. It's a road Big Ten win. That means
there's going to be plenty more opportunities to do that.
That is true. I lean towards the win tonight over Friday as well. We said in our show, go 1-1 these next 2 games, and you'll be happy. Wasn't expecting to after Friday, but
it wasn't the one that I was. It wasn't the one I was expecting.
It was flipped.
When I said that, I thought it would be the other way around.
All right, we got a lot of people in here. We got 66 people in here. If you guys keep chatting us, we'll keep talking. We got nowhere to be. What was Dane's plus minus? You got it, Logan?
-3.
-3. Yeah, I don't think Dane had his best night. He was 9
he didn't.
points, 6 rebounds, but 3 turnovers.
I think
let's look at
at
my.
least
You know, I love my analytics. Let's look at my analytics here.
were both of those. He had 3 turnovers, but at least
He had 1 or 2 charges.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, not that it's still a turnover.
He has
so you obviously still
he
count it,
is got into the habit of bringing the ball down.
yes, he has.
And I think a lot of it is, or some of it is, the guards feeding him the ball in the wrong spot, where that's kind of where he gets it. But he's in the funk where he brings the ball down. His efficiency tonight was 10, which if you haven't watched, I look at efficiency, which adds up all the good and subtracts the bad. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, minus missed shots and turnovers. His was 10, which was 4th on the team, actually better than Jaden Epps, whose was 9. Matthew Myers was 24. So Meyer had a really good game efficiency-wise, and his game score was 18, where the next best was Shannon at 9.5. That's on a scale of 0 to 40. So Matthew Meyer, definitely the best game tonight. Dane, not his best game. But Illini get the win. So we do have that going for us, which is nice.
It's huge.
85-78. We're going to close it down here. We've been going for almost 40 minutes, and normally we're not starting our post game until like 30 minutes after this, so we might actually get to bed at a decent time tonight. But thank you for tuning in. This was really, really well received. A lot in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys, all of you watching, wherever you're watching. This is, by the number I'm seeing up here, the most that we've had on our live post-game show this season for sure. So thank you. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we will continue to do these. Do we know about Saturday? I don't think we know about Saturday yet because your plans are up in the air.
I will be at the game, so we'll have. To
Logan's
figure that
going
out.
to the
I don't
game
know if
Saturday.
We'll be able to do a post game or not.
I'll just say I did a post game from State Farm Center last year after the game I went to, so I'm just throwing that out there. It was also the Penn State game.
That's a good point. It was the Penn State game. We'll talk about it.
I might be at home with my parents, so there's a lot up in the air, but we'll try. We'll try to do something since the team's on a bit of a high right now. We'll try to get something out to you guys. But again, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Illinois wins 85-78. For Logan, I'm Craig. We'll see you next time.
Go Illini.